The allegations towards MrBeast are not slowing down, and things are only getting worse and worse as the allegations are starting to target MrBeast more specifically and his Amazon Prime show called Beast Games. Now, if you didn't see yesterday's video, I highly recommend you go and check that one out first, because it provides a lot of context as to what Beast Games is, what Amazon have done to kind of acquire MrBeast, and then basically the allegations that have started to snowball out about the show. But we're here today to talk about even more allegations towards Beast Games from one person in particular. We get it straight from the horse's mouth, from a contestant herself, and she even goes as far as, quote, as I quote here, "He is a monster." It gets really, really rough. But first of all, we're going to take a look at Rosanna Pansino. Right, so Rosanna Pansino, I did a bit of research on her yesterday. She had a lot of issues with MrBeast a few years ago because she took part in a MrBeast hide and seek video and she just hid and didn't really move. So MrBeast didn't really include her within the video because the content wasn't as exciting as like what Logan Paul did, Bella Porch, all those kind of people. So she didn't really get much screen time and she had a bit of issue with this. But she has been on the front foot regarding this entire situation. So she's released yet another video about more Beast Games MrBeast allegations that break her heart. Let's have a little look at this first, and then we're going to dive in straight into the contestant.
I wanted to keep you guys updated on what I've been hearing about MrBeast's Beast Games. Since I posted my video yesterday, I've pretty much been talking with more people involved with the show all day. At this point, I've lost track, but I think it's nearing like 100 people who have reached out to me with their stories. Each person has their own experience, and
this is crazy because by the yesterday she only had 8 people that she had spoken to, I believe. So to have near 100 now, it shows how many people have come forward since.
Their own opinions, but overall the stories that I'm hearing just break my heart. I have never heard of anything like this on any set. I've also heard at least 3 journalists are looking to talk with people about Beast Games.
Wow.
I'm not sure if the journalists want their info posted here, but just wanted everyone to know that it seems it's caught their attention. It's also come to my attention that the first week of filming wasn't actually for the Amazon show itself. It was for MrBeast's YouTube channel. Okay. I'm waiting to hear confirmation, but it appears they were essentially shooting a YouTube video. I'll have more information about the crew in a future video. It looks like this video is basically eliminating the 2,000 contestants down to 1,000. That goes on MrBeast channel, and then the Amazon show will be out of the 1,000 contestants, but they haven't shot that yet. So today,
that's very interesting because obviously that would mean that like there would be some cross advertisement there. It was probably like a deal between Amazon and MrBeast to promote it on his YouTube channel, so then more people will be inclined to go and check out the second half over on Amazon Prime. Bump up those numbers a little bit. Amazon Prime get a bit more cash in their pockets.
I want to read a statement from another contestant who shares many of the same experiences with the other stories that I'm hearing. This one is a little long and it doesn't really even begin to scratch the surface, and I truly hope that shining a light on these issues will make the future episodes of the show much safer for contestants.
Let's hope.
I'm reading this statement with the contestants' permission. I was expecting for this competition to be hard, but I did not expect to endure what I did. It was a show, to say the least. Okay. I believe that they were in over their heads and did not plan very well. Here are some of the things I experienced.
Now, this is interesting. Didn't plan it very well. You would have thought MrBeast is probably, he's done a lot of these game shows. He did the Squid Games, which was a huge success. Haven't really heard much backlash about that at all. He's done many, many other game show type things on his YouTube. You'd think that he'd have this down to a fine art, So to think it was an absolute shambles, that's odd.
There was no clear communication between the contestants and production. I think this was because production knew just about as much as we knew. Contestants were being told numerous different things, and it was very confusing and frustrating. No one was using a microphone to make announcements, so it was really hard to hear what production was saying. A lot of things got missed. I had to hear through the grapevine about certain things like when they had Gatorade, when we could go to medical, when they had snack bags on the last day, when we could get our undergarments, etc. They handed out undergarment bags to everyone alphabetically by last name. I did not receive my undergarments until the second day of filming. These should have been handed out to everyone day one. People were...
So this was one thing that the contestant who came forward yesterday said, is that she basically had to like wear dirty pads for 2 days before she was allowed to change it, which of course absolutely unhygienic, absolutely disgusting. You know, I wouldn't want to be that person, you know. And I mean, as a man, I fortunately don't have to go through that, but I know for women how intense that must be and how horrible. Like, that's a massive cock up. One of very many, by the way.
Were using their undergarment bags as pillows when they slept on the stadium floor. After the first competition, they hadn't fed us in a while and I was feeling lightheaded. I asked someone if they had anything to eat because I was feeling lightheaded, and they told me to push through and basically suck it up.
Wow.
On the first day, after 12 hours of having contacts in my eyes, I asked someone if I could go to medical and take them out, and they told me no. I witnessed 2 people that had seizures, and it took medical several minutes for them to get there.
Oh
I'm
my
assuming this happened because they did not have access to medication, but I could be completely wrong. Medics should have been there on the field 24/7, ready to go at all times. I was told by production they were working up to 20-hour days. As all of us were, we were all sleep and food deprived. The timing between feeding us was not consistent. In the first meal they gave us, around 6-7 p.m., I had no protein.
So, from what we've heard from the last contestant yesterday, is that they were fed once every 12 hours and the meals would be a maximum of about 400 calories. So, you know, over a 24-hour period, these people were eating 800 calories, which is far, far below the daily recommended intake for humans. So for women, it's 2,000 calories per day, and for men, it's 2,500 calories per day. So you can see how this can become an issue for some people, and how it could lead to, well, lightheadedness and big issues.
All I had was a little container of oatmeal and a little container of vegetables and a little container of fruit. We didn't eat again until the early morning. For the second briefcase challenge, they reviewed footage for any discrepancies. For the third flag challenge, we were told they would not be reviewing footage and it would solely be based off of what the guards saw. This was very unfair because several people got eliminated when they shouldn't have. I heard people were being pushed and shoved by males in challenges, and
that is, again, something that was talked about yesterday, is that the challenges were absolutely geared towards young, fit, athletic men. And when the men realised that they could just push people out, they targeted women and they literally like tackled them out of challenges, to the point where some women even broke bones because the men were so physical with it. Like, people were like medevaced out from what I've read on articles. There have been people with broken bones, some people left with stitches. It's chaos.
They were not being punished for it. I received an email yesterday saying they are going to check the footage now and eliminate these people because they take violence seriously. They should have done this during the game and not after the fact. I would say most of the challenges were definitely geared towards strong, fast men. When I returned from the competition, my 3 bags were separated at the hotel and were not where I had originally put them. I had to search for 30 minutes to find all of my luggage. Our sleeping bags and undergarments were all thrown and scattered into another room, and I had to search for that for 20 minutes. There was no organization whatsoever. When all the contestants arrived back to the hotel from the competition, we were supposed to have flights booked for us to go home. I woke up the next day after I got back from the competition with no flight information. With so many contestants trying to go home, I heard that they would not have all the flights booked until a few days later. I had to book my own flight home, use my own money out of pocket to leave because I couldn't wait that long because I had to return to work. They are going to reimburse us, but there is no telling when I will see that money. They gave out...
Nor if you'll see that money. Now, the last contestant stated that basically when people went out, they offered them $1,000 to sign an NDA deal, which is obviously a non-disclosure agreement, so that they wouldn't talk about what went on behind the scenes at Beast Games. And some of these people, of course, haven't taken the hush money and have decided to out the entire thing anyway. And the controversy has got so bad that they have reached out to those people once again to offer them a further $1,000 to $2,000 to sign an NDA deal. Wild.
Out feastable chocolates to contestants at times. My group hoarded chocolate because we weren't sure when the next time they would feed us would be, and we were afraid we would go hungry. Someone was denied Benadryl because of their allergic reaction to the food.
Wild. Wild.
To wrap up this video, the stories that I'm hearing about the lack of medical care and violence are the most concerning things to me.
For
and
sure.
The statement I just read doesn't even cover the half of what I'm hearing. I'm also waiting for confirmation that there were only 2 ambulances for well over 2,000 people, the contestants, including the entire crew. And I'm speaking with someone from the crew right now to get confirmation about how many people were on the crew. On every set, there are safety standards, especially for dangerous sets and dangerous shows. And it appears to me that MrBeast has not been following them. I'll keep you updated. There's a ton of information to sort through, and I'm trying my best.
Now, what we have to bear in mind with this is this MrBeast's fault? Obviously, it's very, very easy for me to sit here and say, this is all MrBeast's fault, MrBeast this, MrBeast that. MrBeast absolutely has an element of responsibility as the host, and, you know, he's the producer of the show as well. Like, he's been named as that. So, you know, he has an element of responsibility, but with him partnering up with Amazon Prime, was the agreement that they would handle all of this stuff? Is it on Amazon Prime's shoulders to make sure that all of this ran smoothly? Or is this truly all on MrBeast? I don't know. Now, the contestant who has come forward is someone called Jenny, or Janae, okay? And over on their YouTube channel, they've got 34 subscribers, and they posted a video about 7 days ago where they say MrBeast contestant tells all part 1. Let's have a little look at this. It hasn't gained much traction, but let's have a look.
So today is the first morning, I guess it's afternoon now, that I've experienced since being eliminated from the new MrBeast game challenge. They eliminated 400 people the first day.
Wow.
Those 400 people, the majority of them were forced by the other team members to be on the specific team they were. Some were just about like physically like assaulted to be put onto one team, which ended up making it like the weakest team, since it was a lot of like elderly people and petite women and people that just, I mean, they weren't willing to take on 6 guys that were surrounding them trying to take their vests so that they can actually be on that team. Of the 400 people that left, the majority of them, I'd say at least half, are all extremely depressed. Well, I don't know if I can say extremely, but I definitely know that they are depressed. As far as I've heard from so many people that I've talked to personally, as well as people that I've spoken to that are employed by other organizations that are around like the games right now, a lot of people have come up and expressed that they are really not doing okay.
Wow. Wow.
It was so much work and exhausting to just get to that point to even be in the games, and then to be kicked out, and you kind of get ostracized. The staff, like, they become really cold towards you once you're actually kicked out. MrBeast does not talk to everybody, all his fans or anything, and
well, let's be fair to Jimmy. You know, there are 2,000 people allegedly that took part in part 1, which they're talking about here. You know, that's a lot of people to get round. You know, if you're on a time schedule from Amazon and you're higher ups, you've probably not got time to sit and chat with everyone, you know. Like, let's play devil's advocate here. You know, let's be fair to Jimmy in that sense.
I mean, like, there's so many different things. I'll keep giving updates on this, but like, MrBeast is a monster, and the games that he does are really cruel and sick. They actually had called a one kind staff member of the only three kind staff members that I came across that were like really concerned about the well-being of all the people that were so distraught, had actually come to me and asked me if I was okay, and I told them I wasn't. I told them that I wanted to die, and one of them had called a psychologist to come on set and talk to me, and that psychologist had even informed me that shows like MrBeast, and I'm assuming probably similar type game shows, they kind of destroy the contestants. It is extremely psychologically damaging, and
okay, I sympathize with her, but at the same time, she went onto a competition show where the prize money is $5 million. There's got to be a part of you, if you enter into a competition with 2,000 contestants for $5 million, life-changing amounts of money, you know, you've got to expect a bit of unfairness, a bit of unruliness, and, you know, for people to not always play fair. You know, like, you got to take the rough with the smooth when it comes to stuff like that. Yes, I completely agree. The physical violence, the medication issues, the sanitary issues, and the overall wellness and care given to these people, diabolical. So below par. But when it comes to these kind of psychological effects, when you're mentally challenged in a competition, that's kind of to be expected. You know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And I think to sit here and say that, you know, that you're psychologically distraught because you lost a competition, that's kind of, maybe that's not the case. We'll listen on, but right now I'm kind of like, what did you expect kind of thing.
Really think that it should end, or they need to redesign it in a way that is more psychologically safe, because a lot of psychological damage took place within the first day of the new MrBeast games.
Again, I just kind of I can't help. It sounds so cynical, and I feel bad saying it, but you know, it's what you should be expecting from that kind of a challenge game. You know, like, if you watch some of MrBeast's other videos, like the Surviving in the Wild, if you get, like, you know, every day's $10,000 in the wild, the psychological trauma is what kind of is the most intriguing part of the video, and that's the hardest challenge, is the psychological part. The physical part's easy, the psychological part's the hard part, and that's what those challenges thrive on, you know, and that's what engages the audience. So those kind of challenges are to be expected, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of updates that I'm going to give. I made a video last night when I was prepared and planning on killing myself last night, because
my goodness,
I have already lost like everything else in my life, and being a part of the MrBeast games, just for the experience of doing fun, unique activities, it gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to be really happy and excited about. And then when they ripped it away, my first thought was to try and figure out some way that maybe I can salvage it somehow. So I spoke to one of the producers and tried to see if I could at least just be on set, like maybe be able to participate but not be like a contestant to win, just so I can just experience it. And he was super sweet, and I mean, okay, so 4 people were kind. but he didn't know how absolutely destroyed I really was. And he actually wanted to have the camera crew do a video story on me about just my journey getting, I believe it was just going to be about my journey getting onto the Beast show, because there were so many times that I was told that I was getting cut, and then I'd have to fight again and find some new avenue to be able to appease them so that I can continue with the show. And even up until 1 hour before I was supposed to be on the show, and I'd already been flown out, checked in, jumped through all these massive hoops, I was told about an hour before that I was going to be kicked off unless I could get a doctor's note. And it was almost past the time that any doctor's offices were even open. So that was a real challenge. And thankfully, there were 2 other incredibly kind staff members. The lower level staff members are the ones that I have found are the most compassionate and have the most heart and actually care genuinely about the people. And I'm sure it's because they see so many lives being destroyed by MrBeast and his dream world.
Okay, I absolutely sympathize with her, right? And from a caring place, I truly hope that she can recover from this and she can get the help that she, needs to recover from this. And, the psychological help and to kind of get her out of this dark place. I absolutely hope that. And I hope that, she saw that out already and she's on the road to recovery for that. But I feel like to blame MrBeast for destroying lives is quite the statement to make when, these people have entered a competition show knowing that you've got a 1 in 2,000 chance of winning. You've got a 1 in 1,000 chance of going through to the next stage. You've got a 1 in 400 or 1 in 600 chance. Nope. 1 in 1,600 chance of getting through to the next round. The odds really stack against you. So to say, people surely knew this going into it. They knew it was going to be a tough slog. They knew it was going to be psychologically hard. That's something we've really seen on MrBeast videos recently, is people being locked in supermarkets. There's that one guy that was locked in a supermarket, and the hardest part wasn't the challenge. That was easy, surviving in a supermarket for however long. But the hardest part was the psychological part, because he wanted to see his family. He had a newborn kid. It was really difficult, and he missed birthdays, and that. The psychological trauma is what is the hardest part in these kind of challenge videos that MrBeast does. But people know this going into it. Surely they know this going into it.
I mean, I think that there are... I think that he could do this better, where it's fun, entertaining, not psychologically damaging, and everybody walks away actually feeling like they benefited something. Do you get money from the show? Yes and no. You get fake money while you're on the show. Complete fake money, and then they take it from you right after they get their little shots done. And then they have you sign some paperwork where they tell you that they're going to send you the money at a later point in time. For me, it was supposed to be $1,000. That's like nothing. $1,000 for everything that we'd gone through. And it takes 4 months. It was going to take 4 months to get to me.
Again, $1,000 isn't nothing. That's a lot of money. There have been times in my life where I have desperately needed money, and I would have done absolutely anything for $1,000. So, I feel like scoffing at $1,000 is not a great, it's not a great look. But at the same time, I can understand where she's coming from. She's gone through all of these rigmaroles trying to get onto the show, and then to be offered $1,000. You know, but she could have walked away with nothing. So, you know, to get $1,000 is still something. Like, you know, it still compensates for your time to a degree to go on to the show, I guess. And that's where my mind would go. I'd be like, well, you know, I didn't win, but I'm not walking away empty-handed. That would be my outlook on it. I can see that this lady is very bitter towards the situation, understandably so, because of everything that she's gone through. But I do, and again, I feel horrible saying it because of the clear psychological issues that she's got going on regarding this, but it does seem like she expected the world, and then the world wasn't offered to her, and she's very upset about it. And maybe I'm too cynical saying that. Correct me if you think I'm wrong in the comments, but that's just how this comes across to me.
As MrBeast and his staff knew that I was homeless and had nothing when I went on the show.
Oh, okay.
And I had to buy stuff for wardrobe to be on the show. Like, I did everything that I could to try and be able to stay on the show as long as I could. And by chance, no, not even by chance, by bullies on the show, instead of MrBeast actually evenly distributing, like, the people that we had to pull stupid boulders to pull the heavy weight. Like, he should have made it even, instead of one team being like 50% elderly individuals.
Okay, she's got a fair point there. Like, there should have been some vetting taking place within the challenges to even out the team to make it a bit more fair, definitely.
Because that was basically my team, and we lost really bad. And then there was another team that was all guys, because they demanded no women would be allowed. Very racist, very sexist. That's a very, very sexist thing to do. And MrBeast allowed that on his show.
Yeah, I see where she's coming from there. She's got a very fair point there.
I mean, it was so many different things. Like, the show is... And then the people on the show, like, had such a hard time getting their medication. Many people, and these are prescription medications, many people, sometimes they hadn't gotten their medication for like 2 days.
Wow.
Some of it was like epileptic medication, like really vital, necessary medication.
That's wild.
I know for me, every time I went to go and try and get my medication, I would have trouble as well. Sometimes just the lady distributing the medication, she would just give me a lot of attitude, because I take my medication more than once in a day. And so when I'd come back, a second time or a third time, she would get irritated with me because I already got my medication. So it is... I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to say about it, a lot to say about the show. It was a very interesting experience. It was not what I was expecting. I really thought that when he was going to do this show, he was going to challenge people, especially in a more fair way.
Okay, I'm going to stop the video there. If you do want to check out the full video, I will link it down below. And over on the YouTube channel of Janae, you can see that there is a part 2 that we might check out another day. But for the time being, this is where we're at. Obviously, like I say, I do truly, truly hope that this person gets the support that they need, psychologically especially. But at the same time, to play devil's advocate with it, I do also see it from MrBeast's point of view, where it's like, it's to state that he's ruined people's lives over this is a very, very serious allegation to make against him. And is it necessarily a fair one? Personally, I don't think so. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below, though. But to caveat that, I absolutely agree. The conditions that the contestants were put in, the lack of food that they were given, the fact that they ran out of water consistently, disgusting. Sanitary issues should not be happening. Medication issues to the point where people having seizures because they couldn't get their medication. diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have found this video informative. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell to get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And until next time, I hope that you have enjoyed. Cannot wait to see the next one. I'll speak to you later. Peace.